welcome back to the channel for a new and unexpected guitar video. Unexpected because I did not intend to buy this guitar. Yesterday I was at Showtime Music at the Crossroads Mall near Beckley, West Virginia, just looking around, seeing what they had because I hadn't been in for a while, and I saw this beautiful guitar. It is an Epiphone inspired by Gibson J-45. I was told it was a brick and mortar store special. It was $799.99 and it just absolutely blew me away. First thing that really got my attention. If you've seen my past videos, I have reviewed many Epiphones and talked about Epiphones, and I love most Epiphones, but they tend to have a thick finish that feels, as I've said before, and I hate saying this, but it's how I feel, almost toy-like. The rest of the guitar can be amazing, but the finish can let it down. It looks great, but to the touch, it just feels too plasticky. But this guitar is an entirely different animal altogether. This has their aged gloss finish, which looks really nice. But the secret is this wonderful neck. That's a mahogany neck, and it has, according to the internet, a varnish finish. But what I know is it feels exactly like, in terms of the finish, a Taylor neck. And I tested this out because they're a Taylor dealer, and I played various Taylors in the process of trying out this one. This is just an amazing neck on this guitar. The shape is not identical to a Taylor, but the feel in terms of the finish, it just feels so much like a Taylor. I was just blown away. The neck shape itself is very nice. It's a full C-shaped neck. It's a little fuller than a Taylor neck, but it feels great. And let me say, I have never played a Gibson J-45. That was one of those guitars I've always wanted because so many people I love and admire, like Bob Dylan, have played them. But I've never had the chance to play one. I have played some other Gibson acoustics, including a local music store, Folklore Music Exchange, who runs a great open mic night, often has a small Gibson acoustic as one of the guitars for people who don't bring their own, and it's a great guitar. And let me say, this is every bit as good, if not better than that. I think it was a L00 or something of that nature. I can't remember exactly. I'll put it up on the screen right now if that's wrong. This is every bit as good as that, if not better. So let me go through the specs really quick. One thing, I'm not sure exactly what makes this different from this so-called brick and mortar edition than what you would find on Sweetwater. One thing I did notice looking at videos, they complained about the standard version, the pick guard, being really large and thick. This is a different pick guard. It's still on the thicker side, but doesn't cover as much real estate. This, I think it's a tobacco sunburst or something of that nature finish. It is absolutely beautiful. It's a solid spruce top. And here's the other real kicker. Mahogany sides, beautiful, get the glare off there. Mahogany back, and that is solid mahogany, not laminate. The headstock, the black headstock with the aged gloss just looks amazing. I'll take a closer look, in-depth video, but this just feels like an expensive guitar. The playability is perfect, just absolutely perfect. I mean, you can even way up here. And again, I'll take a closer look. The fretwork is perfect for $799. I can't say it was an impulse purchase. I just love this guitar so much. I had to get it, and I'm probably going to be parting with something I like quite a lot to pay for it, but that's just how much I like this one. I've been wanting a slope shoulder dreadnought like this. later in this video, I'll do a quick comparison with my Epiphone Dove Studio. But let me say, this guitar is definitely, I love that Epiphone Dove for $450, but this is a much, much nicer guitar. I mean, this is about the highest value guitar I've ever played, and that's why I had to have it. So what I'm going to do is and let me say too, and I'll take a closer look at this, it also at that price came with this really nice gig bag. It's not a hard case. It's more a soft shell case is probably the best way to put it, but I just absolutely love it. Just another little detail, even the way the headstock looks with that finish reminds me of a Taylor headstock. And let me say too, in the process of picking this guitar, I keep saying Taylor because they don't sell Gibsons there, but they do sell very high-end Taylors, including a beautiful Brazilian rosewood custom-made $12,000 one they showed me while I was there. But I played several American Dream Taylors, and I played several Taylors in the last year, going all the way up to an 814. And let me say that there was not an American Dream that spec for spec was exactly like this, but this was definitely in the ballpark for, you know, those were, depending on the exact model, like $1,900 to $2,200 guitars. This one was definitely in their weight class in terms of quality at a fraction of the price. So I'm just really impressed by it. I'm excited to share more about this guitar with you. So let's take a closer look and we'll get some more detailed sound samples. And let me say, you might be, depending on how the video gets cropped, what you've heard so far, there's an SM57 right here, probably about, depending on how much I've been rocking back and forth, 6 to 12 inches from the 12th fret. So we'll get you some different sound samples, check out the electronics, which I have actually not checked out yet, and see what this baby can do. Let's take a look at the Epiphone inspired by Gibson J-45. You can see here, take a closer look at this beautiful, solid spruce top. See the finish. It does show fingerprints fairly well. But again, that's easy just to wipe off. This is, I believe, an actual rosewood bridge. Bone saddle there. The pins are plastic. Kind of a tortoise pick guard. But overall, just a beautiful top, especially at that price point. That is Indian laurel for the fretboard. That is not rosewood, but I think it looks nice. Definitely serves the purpose. The fretwork, the fret ends are just absolutely perfect. I've never played a guitar with better fret ends. Maybe up here where you can't even reach them. They're not rough. I mean, instead of being a perfect 10, they're like a 9 out of 10. But for the frets you can actually access, they are perfect. And they are, again, 9 out of 10 up here. You can see they are not the most perfectly polished, but they're well polished. And the playability of this guitar is just perfect. It is just perfect. The Epiphone Dove that I have, which I love, the action was a little bit low, especially when you got up into this area out of the box, and it required some adjustment, but this is perfect. I mean, it's the only word for it. Have a bone nut, which, look at that, that is really well cut. Love the way that age gloss finish looks on the headstock. Just have some traditional tuners here. They work fine so far, nothing fancy. Can't say they're great, but they get the job done. They're good. I don't intend on replacing them. It's probably the best way I can put that. Now let me very carefully flip it on its side here, just so you can see the solid mahogany sides. Really nice binding on this too. That is solid mahogany. Gently put it over here. Doing this on the bed so I can show you the back without putting any pressure on it. But there's a mahogany neck, and again, the neck is what, as soon as I picked up this guitar, I just had to have it. That is an amazing finish. It feels like a Taylor, the finish. And the shape is a little fuller than a Taylor, but it feels just a tremendous neck. The finish is perfect. It's a great shape. It's a full C, I would say, as opposed to the D shape on the Dove. You can see it is made in China. There's nothing wrong with that. See the Grover branded tuners, which again, they're good. Not great, but good. They get the job done, not locking or anything like that. Then that's another, at this price point, to get a solid rosewood back like this. See if I can get the, that is just, there, it's in focus pretty good. For that to be solid and not a laminate at this price point is just amazing, quite frankly. And again, this is obviously a slope shoulder dreadnought. No cutaway. Some more, and take a closer look here if I can get it in focus of the binding. Really well done. Of course, it has strap buttons, but I mean, if you're looking for an acoustic in this price range and this body type, you can't do any better than this. This is really, really impressive. Okay, let's take a look at this great Epiphone soft shell case. I call it a soft shell case more than a gig bag because the sides are very rigid. It's well padded on the inside. You can see the give there, nice and soft. Has a nice Velcro strap to keep the neck in place and a neck cradle. Nice and deep. You can see from the tag that's still on it that it's made for dreadnoughts. It's called the Epilite case. Nice bag of pouch in the front for the sound hole. And the people at Showtime Music, because I complained, not to them, just in general, if you ever saw my Dove video, that Epiphone does not include batteries with their guitars, they gave me a 9-volt battery. So this soft shell case is really nice. Nice padded handle too. That might be the difference in the $7.99 for this brick and mortar edition compared to the one you get on Sweetwater for $7.49, which I do not think has the soft shell case, but I think it's actually worth it. I say that as someone who has more cases than I have room to put them, but I think this is a nice one. And it definitely transported the guitar well and protected it on a very hot day at about an hour trip to get it home safely. So the case definitely does the job. Okay, let's get some more sounds for you. This is an SM57, about 8 inches away from between the 12th fret and the body, going directly into the audio interface. I'm going to get you some sounds. Start off with some strumming with a pick. Sounds full and rich. And the bar chords way up the neck are really easy to play on this guitar. And I'm a classic rock strummer, so I'm not going to be able to play any really super intricate, fancy acoustic things for you, but in that vein, I can give you a good idea of how it sounds. nice. Play some lead stuff here. Now I'll try a little bit of finger picking. Back to the pick. I think it sounds great. So now I will install the battery and get some electric sounds out of this. Box acoustic amp. Get you an idea of what it sounds like. Plugged in. The 9-volt battery is installed. Just like I said in my Dove video a couple years ago, Epiphone, please put batteries in these. I have more expensive acoustic guitars that came with the batteries installed. It is a pain to have a new acoustic guitar, have to partially detune it, fish in here, get the pouch out, and put the 9-volt in. Just all that with an acoustic guitar, you just hate to do that with your acoustic guitar when you first get it home. So please put 9 volts in them. But that being said, this is the Fishman Sonicor sound hole mounted system. I believe it's just a volume and a tone, but it gets the job done. It's non-intrusive, and unlike some of the more advanced systems, you don't have to drill into the sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the SM57 about a ½ inch off the grill of the Vox acoustic amp, all the EQs at about noon, and I'm going to be in the next room with about a 12-foot cable to make sure you're getting as much of the amp sound and not the room guitar sound as possible. And I'll get you some sound samples, and I might fiddle with the tone control some, but generally on these I like them all the way up. This is a guitar I think that would benefit from the tone being all the way up. So let's see what it does. fun. We're going to do a quick blind test between the Epiphone, inspired by Gibson J-45, and the Epiphone Dove Pro Studio. The Dove Pro Studio is $449. It has laminated maple back and sides, solid spruce top. Of course, it's solid mahogany and back and sides for the J-45, but they're both dreadnoughts, they're both Epiphones, and I thought it'd be good to do a comparison just to get a general idea of how they sound compared to one another. Another major difference is the Dove is a 25.5-inch scale, whereas the J-45 is 24 3/4. Both have Indian Laurel fretboards, and just generally between these two, the Dove has a D-shaped neck, and the J-45 has a C-shaped neck. So let's just do a few quick sound samples, see if you can tell the difference. And we are back. Those were all mic'd very simply with an SM57 pointed at the 12th fret and recorded one right after the other, so everything was the same. So with no further ado, guitar 1 was the Dove, guitar 2 was the J-45. Personally, listening in the room and listening back to the sound samples, it's about exactly what you would expect. A lot of mid-range, I thought, with the J-45. A little less mid-range, a little more high-end with the Dove, but I thought they both sounded great. These are both tremendous guitars. If you were shopping in these respective price ranges, you could not do better than either one of these for an acoustic guitar, especially with the Dove in terms of value. The J-45's definitely higher quality in terms of the finish is nicer and things of that nature, solid wood, but at $450, this Dove is an amazing guitar. So you can't go wrong with either one. And I think that, again, that was pretty much what you would expect the difference between a Dove and a J-45 sound-wise to be traditionally. So I was pleased by that, and hopefully that was insightful for you all as well. So we've heard it unplugged, plugged in compared to the Epiphone Dove Studio. We've taken a closer look at the guitar itself and the gig bag. What are my final thoughts? This is an amazing guitar, an amazing value, but I think it actually does it a disservice to just call it an amazing value, because it is just an amazing guitar. It is one of my favorite acoustics I've ever played, and it's always great when you have that magical moment of, as much as I love ordering stuff online, walking into the shop and just loving something so much you knew you had to get it and find a way to get it, even if it meant probably selling a guitar to you didn't want to. But that was the case with this guitar. I don't claim to be an expert on Gibson J-45s. The only thing I know about them is I love the way they sound in the hands of some of my heroes like Bob Dylan. I know the Alamo Music channel talks about how Gibsons have sort of a lo-fi sound in comparison to maybe Martins and Taylors in a good way. And I think this guitar, based on my experience of just as a listener, I think does a good job of sounding like a J-45 for a lot less money than a Gibson J-45. Which, again, the Gibson J-45 is a bit of a tricky thing to figure out because there are so many versions, and a lot of the more affordable versions are not really J-45s in terms of traditional specs. It's sort of like if, you know, a J-45 is known for having a mahogany back and sides. If it's walnut, at what point does it really stop becoming a J-45? Because I know there are studios and studio fadeds in the Gibson line, which are less. And people who are more knowledgeable than me about it could inform you. I saw on another channel that the body depth of this is about half an inch less than a full-fledged Gibson J-45. So that will affect the sound some. How much, I honestly don't know. But that's one thing with the studios. I think the studios also have a more shallow body. And again, some of the more affordable ones are made out of walnut, which there's nothing wrong with that. But for a guitar that's known to have very specific specifications and to sort of be the shining example of a slope shoulder mahogany dreadnought, to make it out of something else and to make the body smaller, both I think starts to diminish what it is, which is not to say they can't be great guitars in their own right. But again, I think the only difference in this one is the body is supposedly half an inch more shallow. If anyone has more specific information on that, please comment below. But I did see that on I wish I could think of the name off the top of my head, but a big acoustic guitar YouTube channel. But that being said, I believe the cheapest full-fledged Gibson J-45 is, and I'm recording this in July of 2024, in the low $3,000 price range. And it might be better than this guitar. It probably is. But I doubt that it's 4 times better. It's probably 5% better if I were to guess. And for someone who would love to have a Gibson J-45 but will likely never spend over $3,000 on one, this just fits the bill perfectly. I do not have any desire to run out and say, oh, I wish I could get the Gibson. No, this really is all I could ever want for this type of guitar. They call the Gibson version the American workhorse, and I think this, despite being made in China, lives up to that billing. And again, I know I went on about it in the intro, but this neck, the finish on this neck, and again, some of the online descriptions call it varnish. Whatever it is smooth. It is just perfect. It is not sticky. It's just as slick as can be. And again, look at that beautiful mahogany wood grain. I know there's a glare there, but hopefully you can see it somewhat at least. That's just, the way it just slides in your hand does not get caught up. It does not have that plasticky feel like even some of the Epiphones I love. Like I'm looking at the SG Special, which I absolutely love over there, but it has that feel. It's really the only slightly negative thing about that guitar I could really say. But this one, I mean, bone nut, bone saddle. I think that's a real rosewood bridge, it's my understanding. Solid back and sides. Sounds great. The electronic system is very basic, but I think it gets the job done. If you watched my channel before, you know that my main acoustic guitar is a Takamine P6NC, which has the cool tube system, and it is amazing. I love playing that guitar live, and it's just fantastic. This is not that, but for something basic, just plug in and go, I do really like this system. Do wish they would include the battery, but I really like it a lot for just a very simple plug in and go system, which is what it is for most of us. Because the funny thing for me is, what I really like to do is to write and record my own music, full band music. It's almost always me playing everything with either drum loops or royalty-free samples or things of that nature, but I play everything myself, but I like full band stuff mainly. Some acoustic stuff, and with acoustic guitars in the mix, of course, but full band stuff. When I play live, since I don't have a band in my life at the moment, does not lend itself to me having one or being part of one, I'm almost always playing solo acoustic. So even though my greatest experience is in electric guitars compared to acoustics, performance-wise, I'm almost always playing acoustic. And I'm looking forward to taking this one out and playing it. I'll post something on this channel as soon as I have a video of me playing live with it. And I'm really looking forward to trying it out. And for the settings which I play in, this system is just fine. It's not going to have the sophistication and the ability to tweak it like the Takamine, which I think that's one reason why Bruce Springsteen and Bob Seger and so many people love those, is they are probably the best live plug-in acoustic electric guitar system. Taylor one's close, but I think the Takamine, in my opinion, is the best. And let me say too, if you're watching this video and you are an acoustic guitar aficionado, I am not. I love acoustic guitars. I wouldn't claim to call myself an expert on even electric guitars, but I know a lot more about electric guitars than I do acoustic guitars. Like I was joking with someone at the shop, I'm happy to take apart an expensive electric guitar and put in new pickups and new wire and things like that myself. I don't even like changing the strings on an acoustic guitar. Obviously I do that, and it's not a big deal, but that's just to say that that's one reason why I don't like fiddling with the battery. But I'm not an expert. But I think coming from the perspective of someone who just loves guitars and knows enough to get by about acoustic guitars, I hope that that perspective is helpful for anyone who might be interested in this. Because honestly too, I also know that generally speaking, not talking about all people, that acoustic guitar aficionados can be, in my observation, the observation of many others I know, a bit more, we'll say, picky than electric guitar people. And I know that if you're a true acoustic guitar aficionado, unless you're really on a budget, you're probably not buying an Epiphone no matter how nice it is. I think that electric players are more likely to dip their toe into a more affordable waters, even when they have nicer guitars in the acoustic. I know that's a big generalization, but I know that people who are really good acoustic guitar players and really picky about them probably aren't spending a lot of time in this price range unless they have to, and there's nothing wrong with that if you do. But that being said, if you are, take a look at this one. And if you're just someone like me who loves guitars and needs a good strummer to play live and for recordings, this is a great guitar, and I hope my opinions and my insights have been helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, keep on rocking.